We live in uncertain times. That being said, that doesn't mean we have to live in fearful times, especially if you're looking to buy or sell real estate in the near future. My name's Jamin Gurker. In this video, I'm going to break down how fear impacts your decision-making abilities and how to avoid emotions taking over and sabotaging one of your biggest decisions in the near future. Before we get started though, make sure that you give this video a like and make sure that you subscribe and that you hit the little bell over there so you can receive more videos like this in the future. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the three biggest ways that fear impacts your decision-making during real estate transactions. Number one, fear causes you to see the world through the lens of scarcity and worst-case scenarios. The fact of the matter is, there are great opportunities for people in any market, and very rarely do worst-case scenarios that people envision actually come true. But if the worst-case scenario and scarcity is your mindset going into it, you're going to start looking for ways to justify that mindset, which in turn is just going to solidify that more in your mind. There's a saying in our company, change the way you look at things and the things you look at change. That definitely is the case. Positively, if you change the way you look at a situation, you see opportunities and you're trying to see how you can turn it into a positive, that will obviously change how you look at things. It also goes in the reverse though. If you're always looking for negatives or you're always looking for ways to prove that this is the worst scenario ever in history, then you're going to change everything that you see around you as well. So, number one, fear is going to cause you to see scarcity, and it's going to cause you to see worst case scenarios. Number two, fear causes you to see things in the really short term instead of seeing things in the big picture. And the reason that's a big thing with real estate is that real estate is a long-term situation, okay? We're talking about mortgages that are about 30 years out. Usually people don't amateurize their loan all the way out, obviously, but real estate is a long-term game. And if we focus just on the temporary market, then obviously you're going to miss some opportunities by focusing on this instead of what's going on in the big picture. So, number two, fear causes us to get tunnel vision and look at just what's going on in the moment and not seeing the big picture. The third way that fear impacts your decision-making in a real estate transaction is it causes you to make solely emotionally based decisions instead of balancing emotions with coolly analyzing the data that we have in front of us. Here's something you need to know about people making decisions. Logic is going to make you think. Okay, that's the analysis that goes into it. And emotions make you act. Okay, think about that. The fact of the matter is that you have to have both of those balanced out in order to make a good decision. You can't make a good decision without both of them pulling together. They actually did a study a while ago. I can't remember the exact study, but essentially they found some people whose emotional part of their brain got turned off. Now, you would think that with that kind of brain damage that they would be able to make decisions really coolly and analytically and be no problem. Actually, they could not make the simplest decisions about what to do. So that just really cements the fact that logic is going to make you think, but in the end, emotion is what is going to make you act. So in order to bring those together in a healthy union that's going to help you make the best decision moving forward, you need to make sure that you are in an emotional place to where you can actually do that. And how you do that is you calm the fear down a little bit, okay? And make sure that you're not basing all of your decisions off of fears, okay? Because fear is a very powerful emotion, and if it overpowers all the other emotions when you're looking at buying a real estate transaction, like hope, fulfillment, pride. If you let fear overpower all of those, then you're going to make an unbalanced decision moving forward. So, emotions and fears can hamstring you as you're making these decisions. So what do you need to do about it? We're going to study about that more in just a couple minutes. But if this has been useful so far, write, let's say, fear-free in the comments section down below. Also leave any comments you have about fears as well, about the market, and we'll see if we can provide any information that might be able to answer some of those questions for you. Now, without further ado, let's talk about what we need to do in order to address these fears now. Keep in mind, I'm not a psychiatrist or I'm not a psychologist, whichever field is going to be more applicable here. But these are the tricks I've seen that work really well when you're trying to bring these things to bear in a real estate transaction. Number one, articulate what it is that you're afraid of and write it down, okay? A lot of the power of these fears is going to be just the feeling, but as soon as you put it down on paper, you have the ability to start really thinking it through a little bit more, okay? Now, number two, after you've written it down, give yourself some distance from the problem. Fear causes us to become very laser focused on what it is that we're concerned about, and it doesn't give us the perspective of being able to step back and really just analyze the situation for what it is. So make sure you step back a little bit and give yourself that space. Number three, now that you're thinking logically again and you have a little bit of space from the problem at hand, you need to sit down and decide whether or not the concerns you have are legitimate or not. Sometimes they're going to be legitimate. If there's a really good chance you're about to lose your job, that's something that you need to really analyze and see, what do we need to do about this? But now that we have fear where it needs to be and we have the emotions balanced and the circumstances haven't changed, you still need to get a house here in the near future, or you still need to sell. Then it's time to move to step number four, which is focusing on the solution and not the problem. Getting back to focus. If all you're doing is looking at the problem, you're not going to be able to find any kind of a solution there. You're focusing on fear. If you're focusing on solutions, though, it forces your brain to start thinking logically again. Okay, so you want to find solutions to your fears, and those fears will just turn into obstacles that can be overcome by taking really sequential steps in order to get there. But obviously, we're not going to be able to get there until you focus on solutions and not the problem. Finally, tip number 5 is to surround yourself with the right people. This is really an important one. You are the sum of the people you associate with, and if they have a history of making fear-filled decisions, then you need to be cognizant of that. And I'm not saying discard any advice that anyone within that circle is going to give you, but I would say take it with a grain of salt and just be very, very aware of your situationally aware of your surroundings. That's what I would say for that. So, in conclusion, fear is not necessarily a bad thing in appropriate doses. I'm not saying you should do whatever you like with flagrant disregard for the current circumstances, but never act solely based off of fear. Doing that is not going to give you a thorough understanding of the circumstances, and without having that understanding, you're not going to have the clarity to really make any good decisions. Okay? The biggest losers and fear-filled times are those who let their emotions make the decisions for them, or the ones who decide that they're going to just wait and see with no plan or strategy about how that is going to be helping them in the long run, one way or the other. If you need help gaining some clarity about what it is that you need to do in order to make that achieve that clarity so you know what the legitimate fears are and how to overcome them. If you still need to move forward, then by all means, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to walk you through the process. So, this has been my video. Make sure you like, subscribe, share it with everybody, and make sure if you do have any questions or concerns, reach out to me. I do have my website down below. You can contact me there or directly with my phone number, contact information in the description below.